but what I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your days. We deconstruct the big ideas and the big thoughts and the big worries and the big concerns of the planet on this podcast once a week. Thank you for joining us over on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you source your deconstruction and your joy. As always, every week I'm joined by the lovely Tara Priolo Studio, who will introduce herself to you now.
Hello, everyone. Tara Priolo, I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. I'm, voice teacher, opera singer, all the things that you can check out on my platforms at Tara Priolo Studio. And I am happy to be here. I feel like it's been both a slow and a fast week, all at the same time, in terms of like things going on in the world. If you are a person out there that is like, I like to talk about deconstructing and decolonization, and I have my own story to tell, or I want to talk about the current events and how ridiculous they are. I posted last night a Sailor Moon post that was like, I'm skipping April Fools because every day is a joke. And I was like, actually, that's accurate. But anyway, if you're that person and you have a Bitmoji, you can come put your name here. There is an intake form on the website, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.linkypoop, lovedandlovable.bio.link, that you can fill in to come be a host or a guest on any various strain of this podcast. Did I catch everything?
Yeah, they don't need a Bitmoji either. I'll put your photo in the place of the logo. If you got bold ideas, come on through. And speaking of bold ideas, we'll start with Tara today.
Yes, if you could just flip forward. I'm giving you all the short version of what's been going on in politics / with ICE. So today, literally today, Trumpykins is at the Supreme Court listening to oral arguments. Essentially, they're trying to end birthright citizenship. It is what it is. The ACLU _nationwide threaded this morning that they are at the Supreme Court today challenging President Trump's attempt to dismantle birthright citizenship and upend the lives of hundreds of thousands of American-born children. We have the 13th Amendment, Supreme Court precedent, and American values on our side. We're ready. So that's happening in the courts. There's a few other things happening in the courts currently, but I think they're kind of unlikely to hold up. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. This is from this week in terms of ICE here in Minneapolis. There were several people abducted. These are both from 5 days ago. ICE just abducted someone outside Maya in Northeast Minneapolis. And then someone else said that there is a large presence of ICE in South Minneapolis this morning. 326, stay alert and stay safe. And then I've got one more slide of info dump for y'all. This is big news and don't be confused, y'all. This is big news to the student loan borrowers. Borrowers. It sounded like really, I don't know what was wrong with me on that word, but whatever. There are two things that have the word save in them. There is the SAVE Act that is currently having oral arguments in the Senate, I do believe, which essentially is an attack on voting rights. And then there is the SAVE Plan, which was the Biden era student loan plan to try to make student loans lower. Student loan payments lower. But the courts have decided to completely end the SAVE Plan as of, I think it's ending technically July 1st, and then you'll have 3 months to get back onto a income-driven repayment or something like that, if you'd like your payment to stay low. Otherwise, you enter the standard repayment, which for the majority of people is an unaffordable amount, depending on how many loans you have taken out. And there's also some shifty things happening with the Department of Education, moving some things to other places, because as you may or may not know, the Department of Education has actually been shuttered by all of that. Okay. A little bit, I think I come back to this later, but there's a little bit of update on the war in Iran. Trump is essentially playing with the markets every Sunday, and like saying that there's peace talks and or saying that the U.S. is going to attack the desalination plants. And now Trump says that, and he's going to address the nation this evening, I guess, to say that we may leave Iran in a couple weeks. However, he's also said that this may be a long-term war. So there's lots of things going on there, but that is what's happening in the federal political scope.
As long as we are clear about the part that you said in the start of that particular section, that he is manipulating the markets and using war as a tool of that manipulation, then we can move on. It's like war is very profitable. It is the ultimate profitable performer. Right. And so, you know, they're going to keep this up.
It happens there's this guy on TikTok, I don't remember his handle, and I don't follow him, so I only see him every once in a while, but he analyzes like Trump's statements every Sunday before the markets reopen, and then also analyzes them on Friday before the markets close. And if you watch it, you just know, like, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, like they're all just manipulating the markets with this. So that's all it is.
We love you, Piper, but you're very, very close to the microphone.
We are very close to the microphone.
Okay, so follow the money all the time. We're heading over into Threads now. JS Prenk, JSPRENK, said Ketanji Brown Jackson is too good for this court. I don't have a transcript yet, but she basically asked, didn't they put birthright citizenship in the Constitution in order to avoid this type of debate over who gets to claim a domicile? And Sawyer just stuttered. This is for someone who's inside of what's going on today. And then Sonia Sotomayor comes in with doesn't this open the door to the government withdrawing citizenship from people who were born here? And then there's been more stuttering today as this is all going down. So, we can usually count on Ketanji Brown Jackson to hold the fort down for what's right. And then occasionally Sotomayor and Egan and all the rest of them will come into alignment. This has been trending for the last couple of days on Threads as well. They know better than to work for the Cult of Christ, Chick-fil-A, and to be shaking ass and titties, both lady titties and man titties, in these people's videos. Doesn't matter that there's nobody in the restaurant and it's closing time. They're shaking titties in their Chick-fil-A outfits, and Chick-fil-A fired everybody in there. Chick-fil-A allegedly fired its entire staff after an employee posted a viral video on social media. Some people believe the clip was harmless and that the company may be too strict. But there's no way that this company that says that they align with Christian values and are closed on Sunday are going to let you, well-rounded, clearly eating the chicken in the place, big-tittied women and big-tittied men, shake it like that in your uniform and not be fired. Someone, Nurse Diva 37 says, now y'all know Chick-fil-A is a Christian business. They don't even open on Sundays. They put in their resignations. by making this video. Ovo Unruly Gang says, nah, this shit unprofessional as fuck. And the green grass grows all around. Let's do one more thread and then we'll push forward in the interest of time. Christy Nolan's husband rushing to cook dinner before she comes home.
Oh, God. This holiday smells like burnt rubber. God, it's hot in here. Oh, God. This holiday.
Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Rest in
I
peace.
love Miss Doubtfire, and what a time. And by the way, y'all, I don't care what you do. I'm a live and let live kind of girl. So my issue is not the cross-dressing or the private antics going on in that South Dakota home. Live and let live, live free, die free. It's more that these people are affiliated with and part of a political party that tries to villainize and demonize trans women while wearing fake breasts themselves. And it is some bullshit.
Agreed. Okay, so I've got some Iran and Palestine updates. Yeah, like I told y'all, I gave you a little bit of Iran earlier. I think they're on the next slide. There we go. Okay, so this Iran threatens to start attacking major U.S. tech firms on April 1st. Here's the thing. It's in Al Jazeera. It's in like all of the major news outlets. But like, I can't quite, and I just can't quite tell if it's legitimate information or if it's propaganda. But essentially, in this article and other articles, there is a warning from Iran that they are going to start attacking U.S. tech firms in the Middle East or that operate out of the Middle East. And this is in response to what I mentioned earlier about the U.S. and Trump and Hegseth essentially saying they're going to commit a war crime by targeting the power and desalinization plants inside of Iran. So that's kind of what's happening there. It's a lot of like, he said, kind of bullshit going back and forth. And yeah, that's that. Okay. And then, so first of all, there was never really a ceasefire in Gaza. There was like a public ceasefire, but it never, like, Israel's still killing people. Like, that's been happening for a long time. But what has happened this week I'll just read this. The Israeli parliament's approval of a legislation that seeks the death penalty for Palestinians convicted of deadly attacks has stoked fears among the Palestinians and drawn condemnation from the international community, dismayed at the further entrenching of what rights groups have long described as Israel's system of apartheid. So what I've read and what I've seen from Palestinians and people that understand the Israeli government and things like that much better than I do, is that, you know, and I think this is the part we know, right? There are a bunch of Palestinian people that are arrested by Israeli forces and thrown into jail and never actually charged with anything, but they sit there for years, very similar to the way that like Russia operates. And now there is a legalization of seeking the death penalty or giving the death penalty, even if, right, like these charges are false. So essentially, it's just, hey, babe. Hi. Hey, come on. Shh, 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 shh. Mommy's talking. Thank you. Essentially, it's legalizing the genocide even further. So those are the updates from that part of the world. There's also some things going on in Somalia and a couple of the other countries. Like Israel has also tried to take over southern Lebanon, parts of southern Lebanon. They've also been bombing Yemen. There's just kind of a lot of things happening in that area right now. So yeah, we continue. Rich people fighting each other, and the Piper stop, and the lower classes having to reap the suffering of it all.
They're seeking to terrorize and torment people into compliance. When I hear about these hangings of the gays and the hangings of protesters and things, they're trying to make you afraid of speaking up for the inclusion of everybody. And in the same way that we have domestic terrorists here in the highest parts of our government, that's also what's happening in Iran. When good old Miss Good, I forget her first name, in Minnesota was shot at point blank range in the face, they were doing that as a public kind of hanging event in order to scare those of us who speak up on podcasts like this and amplify our messages in these ways. They were trying to scare us into not standing up for what we believe to be right and just and inclusive. And for some people, it's successful. It works. They will never say anything against these regimes because of what's happened to other people in their view and in their families or in their communities. And then there'll be others who will say, live free, die free. If that's what we're doing, then that's what we're doing. But we're not going to pretend like any of what's happening in isn't real Iran or America is normal. You are completely within your right to have a happy, healthy, and free life. And those who don't want that to be the case are evil. They're evil. Going back to threads briefly, Ketanji Brown Jackson's daughter, Layla, looks on with pride during her Supreme Court confirmation hearing in 2022. I thought we all needed this today. Ketanji really does the work of dissenting and asking the quiet part out loud. Here's some of my online thoughts coming up through my For You page. Am I? Emily said we can get started for baby number 2 tonight. C. Kimball Jr. says, have you considered journaling? It's a thing where you write down your thoughts and then close them and put it away. This belongs in one of those. Wow. Yeah, my threads are doing some crazy things today. Yeah, you can't make any of this up. You really can't. All
right, so we're walking away from the child who's throwing a fit. The Supreme Court legalizes conversion therapy, or re-legalizes, or just like said it was okay. The next slide has just another headline about it. yesterday, oral arguments were held for, I guess I don't know that it was yesterday, but this decision came down yesterday. The U.S. Supreme Court strikes down Colorado's ban on conversion therapy. They essentially said that it was infringing in some way on free speech, which I just think is wild. And so, yeah, this is another attempt of the court and this regime, and also all the regimes that came before it, to suppress anything that they deem not normal, right? And once again, to scare us into submission, right? Because conversion therapy is really about praying away the gay and beating out the gay, right? But that's the part they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about how they're okay with beating children as long as it benefits the cishet normativity that we have inside of the United States. So that I just wanted to raise that as like a big thing that happened yesterday. I think it sounds like Colorado is going to keep trying to work around this ban and try to find other ways to keep conversion therapy from coming back in their state, but avoiding the quote unquote infringement on free speech. So that's what I know about that.
It's wild that folks are still out here trying to control how other humans live their lives and who they are attracted to. I've told you all, my mom tried to send me to conversion therapy within the last 5 years because the pandemic hit and I fell on hard times, and her recipe was a Jesus rehab or Jesus camp for adult addicts. And while I was addicted to many things, mostly stinking thinking and self-hatred, self-doubt, and self-delusion, trying to push someone into living a life or a version of their lives that you want to see them live is mental illness. When we all can be happy, healthy, and free, as I mentioned earlier. And so it's wild to me. Just to bring clarity to this, though, I did hear online last night through some of my research on TikTok that they didn't overturn the ban on conversion therapy in these states. This is actually a bit of clickbait. What actually happened was the decision was made to protect the expression of this one lady. It's not a strike down on all of the bans. She did this type of situation. I'm gonna see if I can find it. The 8-1 decision, which had conservative and liberal justices in the majority, does not technically strike down the law, but it means the lower courts will now review it again and apply the highest form of judicial scrutiny.
I see. So essentially just tossed it back to the states again, and it'll ping pong back and forth for the next 10 years.
Yeah, she challenged the law on the premise of the First Amendment. She said that she would engage in her faith-informed counseling only when clients sought it out. And because of this, she challenged it. Childs and other therapists who engage in the practice could have faced serious repercussions, including up to $5,000 fines for each violation, and be stripped of their licenses. And this lady is essentially saying, if people want to come to my bigoted practice, or come to my homophobic practice and allow me to torment their children, they should have the right to do so. And of course, that is what the law is, and how it's supposed to be protected. And those of us who realize that there have been more harmful effects from conversion therapy, and the numbers of suicides that are increased based on this particular harmful practice are astronomical. We call bullshit on everything that this lady is doing, because she's making money trying to turn someone into being a kind of human that they are not. It's a very foul practice. May she rot in piss.
And it's the classic, like, throw it back to not only the States, but like there's this whole thing about parents. It's a larger discussion, right? Like there's so many things in government, especially when we're talking about education and child therapy and child medicine, even, right? Pediatric medicine, where it's like the parents should have all the rights to decide, because we treat children as property, right? Like that's part of the reason why these discussions continuously happen and these rulings continuously happen. And it's very strange to me, as a parent myself, that we treat children completely as property, right? Like it's yeah, ew. And parents, I hope that if you have a child who happens to be of the alphabet mafia, that you do not take them to that lady.
Yeah, be kind.
Right.
Just be kind. Heading over to Threads. In New Jersey Governor NJ Gov says today, and we don't know if this is an April Fool's Day joke or not, by the way, folks, but the New Jersey Governor's office, through their Threads account, said today we are announcing plans to lift the statewide that's an app that we use in the network. Today we are announcing plans to lift the statewide ban on self-service gas stations in New Jersey. We encourage New Jerseyans to familiarize themselves with gas pumps, as this change is in effect immediately April 1st, 2026. People are saying rude April Fool's jokes. New Jersey, we don't pump our gas, we pump our fists. Hey, now, that trick might work on people outside New Jersey, but we know that ain't happening. So I'll start looking into this over on a different page. And the AI overview is saying, as of April 1st, 2026, New Jersey has officially announced its plans to lift its longtime statewide ban on self-service gas stations, allowing drivers to pump their own gas. I had no clue that in New Jersey you can't pump your own gas.
Right. I was just going to say, like, is that actually real in New Jersey? Like, you can't pump your own gas in New Jersey?
Yeah, the previous ban, originating from the 1949 Retail Gasoline Dispensing Safety Act, made New Jersey the sole state to prohibit self-service.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's also on Facebook, and no one is believing it. So we'll see tomorrow
if that's real or not, if they would like to modernize to 2026.
So strange. So how does that work? If anybody's out there in the audience paying attention today, I would love to know, either in the DMs or comments or via Pigeon, what's it like in Jersey to get gas? Do you go in and you pay for it, and then somebody walks around to your car and does it for you? I don't know. I don't know anything about that life. But anyway, that is my Threads show. Oh my God.
Yeah, we done did it. I kept it short today. I kept it real concise.
Well, y'all, we're always calling for ceasefire in our homes, in our community, in the world. Everything we touch could dial down the emotional, spiritual, professional, personal violence. I've definitely been decreasing the pressure I put on myself in the context of other humans around me. If you haven't heard, someone on TikTok decreed that I had a few days to live. And so that caused me to launch a program that you may have seen out in the social webs called People Pleasers Anonymous, the Love and Action Network chapter. And part of the reason for engaging a program like that with us or someone else in the world is for the ceasefire effect. A lot of us are beating up ourselves because we don't feel like we are enough with ourselves and with the people around us and with the people that we want to meet. Let's call a ceasefire on that today. Tara, what are you calling a ceasefire on today in your life, in your heart, and your spirit?
Just on the lack of belief, the doubts that come in. Hopefully this child doesn't scream. Here. There you go. Sorry, I'm taking it off the counter so it's not quite so loud. Yeah, on the doubts. Ceasefire on torpedoing your dreams. Ceasefiring on pulling up all the weeds or all the flowers in the garden. They could be weeds too. Okay, you don't have to pull up your weeds. According to the Minnesota Arboretum place, they say that weeds are actually good for the environment. So stop pulling them up.
My husband Poppy always reminds me that we've killed all the dandelions only to have to buy it in the store as tea in the end. There's not a dandelion in sight because they've herbicided them all away. And still now we're buying dandelion tea to calm us in the store for a premium price. It's wild out here. We currently have a few programs running, more than a few running in Love and Action Network and Love City Arts. Adopt a Black Artist is for the people of color who don't necessarily have all of the funds and all of the opportunity to network and connect the dots for dreams, but still are deserving. We have a sister program that I'll put in the slide deck next week called the Creative Access Partner Program for everybody else that wants to dream bigger and have access and opportunity to do so. We're doing daily peer support on TikTok every day. It looks like Emotions Anonymous, People Pleasers Anonymous, and other programs to uplift. I'll be doing an open house tonight at 7:30 Eastern on April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke. I will be there sharing some of the programs that we have and taking questions from the audience over on YouTube and TikTok as it relates to what we are growing here. Would love to see you there. And if you're out there and you don't want to do all of the work yourself, the maintenance men were fake sparring and fighting in the courtyard, and it looked serious for a second. If you are sparring with your dreams and you don't want to produce your podcast alone, you don't want to do your newsletter alone, you don't want to do your social media post alone, you don't want to edit video, you don't want to caption videos, you don't want to add music to your videos, let us do it for you. At Love City Arts Creative Services Group, we've got tons of admin and support services for your dream for nominal fees, very affordable. We are able to help you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish and to say the things that you want to say online in podcasts like this and beyond. Also, check out our Substack. We've been going for, I think, according to my Instagram, I think at last post, we have been out here doing our thing for 125 weeks in this particular iteration of what we do. We've had so many newsletters, so many blogs, so many publications way before now. But Substack's one of the best ways to stay in your freedom and to connect with an audience that is all your own. We've been doing it for 125 weeks this week, and it's a thrill to be able to share the meditations and the orientations and podcasts like these, Deconstruction Junction, with all of you. And I hope that you continue to show up for us because we're going to show up for you. And thank you to all of our new subscribers. We see you coming into all the programs. My subscribers over on YouTube, Substack, TikTok, Threads, Instagram. We see you and we love you. Why? Because you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable. You're always going to be loved and lovable. I'm looking for local talent in Savannah to help me staff Dr. Flo in the Love Experience. It's been a slow burn here, but I'm making some inroads into where the people are, where the musicians and the creatives are in town. We'll be doing more work around that today after I get some food in me. But if you're interested in being part of something that's bigger than yourself, as we unite the talents and the time and the treasure of diverse participants all over online and beyond, just drop me a link and some information over in the intake forms. Would love to get to know you better as we build our dreams here. And since the prophecy of the person who says I'd be gone by yesterday did not come true, you're still yet building the fulfillment of this experience, and cannot wait to see you live in your own personal environment. Tara's going to tell us now about what she's working on over in TPS.
Yes, which is Tara Priolo Studio, for those that do not know. So I do have a WhatsApp community. It's fairly chill. I drop links in there when I remember. I would love to have more conversation, though, so if you're interested, come on over. There's a couple other things that are being marketed on my Instagram right now, so the other good place to check in is Tara Priolo Studio on that platform, as well as joining my broadcast channel there. That is where I drop a lot of... I drop a lot of that. My I Dream a World album, I am still looking to get. I have not looked at what we're at, but 500 listens, $1,000. I need to be a little bit more clear about that on my socials. I'm working, y'all, to get like the offers into my social media and a little bit more front and center, but you can go listen and or donate at tarapriolo.bandcamp.com, which reminds me of a conversation being had in Adopt a Black Artist this morning. So there's that. And then connected with that is the I Dream a World archive project. I'm collecting your stories. I'm collecting your dreams of the new world.
Bubbles.
Those are bubbles of a new world beyond where we are right now. And I'm doing that by giving you all prompts online and collecting those. And then hopefully that will turn into also some of you being brave enough to produce some videos talking about your dreams, or going live with me talking about your dreams of the new world. So that is what's primarily happening in Tara Priolo Studio. Of course, there are voice lessons and social media assistance and brand coaching and all of those things also available, but you can find that out at my primary links.
Thank you, Tara. I just got word that good old Trumpicans stormed out of the catastrophic Supreme Court of the United States hearing, humiliated, because several of his own handpicked justices tore his arguments apart. That's what the Daily Beast is reporting. So
thank you so much, Daily Beast. I hope that's not an April Fool's joke. I believe it. Listen, here's the thing, y'all, about the three conservative, not the three, I think, are there three? There's 4 or 5. I don't remember. About the conservative justices, in particular, the ones that Trump has installed. Y'all Dems, I'm looking at you, y'all on the left, you really tried to fearmonger and say that these justices were going to be, like this conservative majority was going to be the worst thing. And while I'm not defending any of these justices, because I think Clarence Thomas is a pretty horrible person, I think that Justice Alito is a pretty horrible person. I think that Justice Kavanaugh is a pretty horrible person. And whoever else is on that, what's her name? ACB, Amy Coney Barrett. I think they're pretty horrible people. However, they do actually tend to follow the law. Like, they're not doing crazy things that aren't aligning with the Constitution or any kind of precedent. And so what Trump is trying to do is completely outside of precedent. So of course, this is going to go poorly for even a Republican president. So that there's no shock to me there, and he can throw as many hissy fits as he wants. It's still not going to end the primaries. It's still not going to end the midterms, and it's still not going to stop people that were born here from voting. That's just the freaking truth, y'all. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I'm happy he's upset. Go cry in a corner with your small hands, and I hope there's a Kleenex that fits in it.
We never loved you. We never loved you. Just yesterday, I met someone who's coming into the network to host and to lead discussions and to lead this particular Vibe Tribe, who started her programs on Inauguration Day, the last one that we had as a protest. That's very interesting that what we now call Love in Action Network, Love City Arts, was started in 2017 as a direct protest to that ascension of weird power as well. So there are a lot of us who are not just sitting around waiting for the change to come. We are being actively the change that we wish to see in the world. And we're finding that we can do it in under an hour when we put our minds to it. So thanks for watching. You're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable. You're always going to be loved and lovable. On behalf of Tara Priolo Studio and Poppy Water 33, one of the managing producers and partners here, and myself, Ask Dr. Flo, on all platforms, we invite you, as always, to come back soon and to stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable. We'll see you around the network. Take care.